What's up, guys? This is Ninja on Ninja, and I want. So I haven't watched this video yet, um, but I do want to pass the word on. So I don't know what she's gonna say. Excuse me, but we'll see. And maybe it's something I don't know. But the Supreme Court of the United States to destroy SCOTUS to destroy separation of church and state over a hamster book by Rebecca Watson or Skepchick. That's an interesting way to do that. I would do that if it was my professional page. Like if I were personally involved, but like I don't think I'll ever do anything that she does where you need to know my actual name. I have no. I don't care. Basically, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that as far as individuals and whatnot. Like I can. I just don't. But yeah. So there's that. I'll see if I can fix it. It's like, well, actually, I could just do this. There you go. Okay.
Welcome back to the continuing documentation of the backsliding of America, where today we get to revisit a true classic of the religious right. The parents' right to control what a public school teaches their children based upon their own deeply held religious beliefs, also known as religious freedom to the Christians and Christian supremacy to the rest of us. I think the last time I talked about this topic was in December of 2019, which checks out because the 5 years since
That's kind of funny. Church, state, teach controversy, Christianity and evolution, teach Christianism. Bill 4, freedom. Bill 3, teach controversy. Bill 2, Christianity and evolution. Bill 1, teach Christianism. It's like an arrow that is wider at the base, and it's going in the butt of church and state and separating the two of them. I don't know. That's funny, but yeah.
that month, I've mostly been occupied with COVID misinformation, the war on women's health, transphobia, and fascism. Sometimes it's helpful to take a step back to get that wider view of things, and at other times, it somehow makes it all much worse. Anyway, back in 2019, I discussed.
I just want to say real quick. My view of all that, I have the answer. And it makes me feel better because that's it. The conversation is over and done. But it makes me feel bad because that sucks. You know what I mean? This is what it is. It just sucks that it's that. So, anyways.
It somehow makes it all much worse. Anyway, back in 2019, I discussed a bill that was introduced in the Ohio legislature, which stated that in public schools, teachers could not penalize or reward a student based on the religious content of a student's work. What does that mean? Well, no one really knows for sure. Does it mean a student can just answer Jesus for every question on a test and get
No.
a passing grade?
Nope. The person who thought of that has an agenda, one way or another. But, like, if I said, why is the sky blue, for example, and you answer because Jesus said so, I would give you a mark down. Because this is a science class. This isn't Christian class. And believe it or not, you can think what you want, but that doesn't replace science. And I'm saying this here and now, the reason why, because I personally believe that that statement or uh, affiliation or whatever you want to call it, that belief or whatever is gonna, I think, be brought up in this. So
Probably not, because the bill also mandated that grades and scores shall be calculated using ordinary academic standards of substance and relevance,
that's true.
including any legitimate pedagogical concerns. So, as I mentioned in that video, really, all it does mean is that if a student is asked the age of the Earth and replies, my textbook says that scientists think the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, their teacher can't punish them if they then also add, but I believe the Bible, which puts the age at about 6,000 years. Which isn't a
Yeah,
thing. That's not a thing that happens. Most students don't write things like
right. But it's saying that if they do, because they're trying to create, it's a cult basically, and they're trying to create cultists pretty much, and they're trying to make us seem like the cult, and they're trying to make Christianity seem like the norm. But yeah,
that, but for the small minority of religious weirdos who would, no teacher would punish them. They'd roll their eyes and then check their GoFundMe that allows them to buy classroom supplies. I suggested that that bill would surely pass, and surprise, it did. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine signed it into law in the summer of 2020 because surely there was nothing else to think about concerning the education of children during that time. If it was fixing a problem that didn't even exist with wishy washy, easy to misinterpret language, why did it pass through into law so easily? And not just in Ohio, but in many other states as well. Because this is part of the religious rights agenda and has been for the past several decades. Pass stupid laws that
again, whoever said that had an agenda, it sounds like this chick has an agenda. I don't know who she is, by the way.
more easily enable you to goad someone into accident.
But what I will say is that I do have, I believe that there should be a separation between church and state. But again, in that one situation that she explained, where if, how old is the earth? I believe it's 7 million, but I believe my Bible says 6,000. And if you include both of them, okay, as long as you include 7 million, it's fine. Whatever, believe what you want. If you said clowns are the best because they could fly and teleport and cast Hadoukens, it's whatever. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you know your science, that's what I'm here for.
Or purposely violating one of those laws, and then sue in the hopes that you lose so that you can then escalate the lawsuit to the Supreme Court, which is now heavily controlled by the religious right themselves. Secure a ruling from them and break down the wall separating church and state, allowing you to push the rest of your conservative wedge issues into the classroom. No more teaching of evolution, no more sex education, no more acknowledgement of the existence of queer people, just to name a few examples. And when you know it, took a few years, but someone's managed to do it. In this case, it started in Maryland, where a group of parents objected to the mere existence of books in the classroom that included LGBTQ characters. One such
Why do you have books that have that?
book is called Uncle Bobby's Wedding. It's a picture book for children aged 3 to 6. It's about a little girl who doesn't want her uncle to get married until she spends a magical day with him and his fiance, who is also a man. That's it. There aren't even any illustrations of them kissing. They could be completely asexual. And in some editions, as shown in court, they're not even human, they're fucking hamsters. This book.
Okay, so you can implement slippery slope fallacy, where it's okay if this is the rule, then it's just every like day, a little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, until eventually, like, wait, what the fuck, and your rights are gone completely. You can bring that up, um, But as far as that goes, like, what's the point? Like, is the writer gay? If the writer is gay, fine. But technically, I would still say not fine because, like, it's not the majority of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because you're part of the community, that doesn't mean you should be made the center of attention, like, so to speak. So
is not required to be read aloud in any classrooms in Maryland. However, it is approved to be on the bookshelves in classrooms if the teacher wants. And it is this that the religious conservative parents object to, because there are laws that already allow religious conservative parents to opt their children out of certain types of education that violate their religious beliefs. So they
well, that's not only religious beliefs. It kind of goes against nature, so to speak. Like, it's fine if you feel that way, but what about those kids that don't? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're changing the narrative. It's better to change the narrative for the one gay kid than the 29 straight kids, as an example. So that's why you wouldn't include that, basically.
say, including things like comprehensive sexual education. But the school board argued that there's just no way to opt a child out of a classroom that includes any representation of a gay person without being wildly bigoted and reducing.
You're reading a script. I hate people who read a script because that means you're fake. Like, you might be part of it, but I'm not actually arguing with a source, if that makes sense. You shouldn't be speaking. Whoever told you to feel the way you do should be speaking out. Like, you notice all my responses in every single video I've ever posted, minus a few where I wanted to include some details. You know what I'm saying? That was fine, but like, for example, like big topics, and I wanted to dive deep, right? But you are just kind of like, this is a brush, like a brush is just kind of brushing the surface, basically. Like, we need to change that. So you don't say that shit. A brush is brushing the surface. That seems stupid. They should change the name for a brush to something else. Because what does a brush do? It brushes, right? So they should call that like poopy and the poopy brushes, and that makes more sense. But yeah, again, like, that's one of those things. Like, I think were not created by an actual someone who creates. It's just some asshole who wants that right, but doesn't want to do the work for that right, basically. It's kind of like kids today that are managers, but it's because they want the manager makes money. They suck at managing, but they just want the manager's money. And then what happens is the store overall is failing. Like every job I've ever had. And it's like, why the fuck are you the manager? Why are you lying? Why are you cheating? All because I get away with it. That means you're a fucking idiot. You should stop doing what you're doing anyways.
Reducing the educational opportunities of the other children in the classroom. Any representation of a gay person without being wildly bigoted and reducing the educational opportunities of the other children.
It's not bigoted to say it's better to include, or it's better to say straight than gay. How is that bigoted? You're a fucking bitch.
In the classroom. Two lower courts ruled in favor of the school board because they are sane. They understood that this would be considered patently ridiculous right now if a parent claimed that, say, they think Black people are the descendants of Ham and thus bear the mark of evil upon them and condemn them to a life of slavery. And so their child should be able to opt out of any.
That's stupid. That's not even What the fuck?
Material that even shows an illustration of a black person. And yeah, that does sound ridiculous.
Okay, you changed the topic because black people, it's a thing, basically. And slavery, it's a thing. And talking about things that happened, that's one thing. But just because it can happen doesn't mean it happened. You understand? Like, there's a difference. Like, slavery happened. We never enslaved gay people. Like, we're talking about not so much look at him, he's black. No, we're saying look at him, he's a slave because he's black. Whereas over here, it's look at him, he's gay, and okay, what about it? He's gay. That's it. That's all it is. He's gay. And there he is, and he's gay. So no, get out of here. No.
Ridiculous right now, but it did not sound ridiculous to the religious conservatives of 60 or 70 years ago who literally opted their white children out of even going to school with black children. And if the Supreme Court...
Yeah, 60, 70 years ago. Again, that's not the same thing. That's like almost a generation ago. It's not, it's 2025, and you're fucking talking about 1950, 1960. That's almost 100 fucking years ago. And we're living in the time right now where last year you could basically, it's almost the same thing. Like, if you compare today's technology to a year ago's technology, it's almost like saying a year ago's technology compared to when we didn't have computers. Like, we're advancing pretty fucking fast. So you need to shut the fuck up and chat what I'm saying. Change your reasoning. Because what you're talking about is some bullshit, that fucking crazy lady bullshit. But my story stands. What the fuck do we have to talk about with gay people? Whereas black people, they were fucking slaves. That's why we talk about them. So that it doesn't happen again. Gay people are just wanting to be included. Because guess what? You're not. There's nothing fancy about being gay. If you're a slave, fine, yeah. Then, yeah, if there's some kind of suffering, oh no, you're not included because you're gay. But there's a reason for it. Basically, it's the same reason why we don't have men showering with women. You're gay. It'd be like saying men can shower with the women because you're gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, why should you be allowed to shower with the women, essentially, when no one else is? Like, so stupid. So I don't agree so far. Yes, I agree that separation of church and state should exist, but this example that it's whatever the fuck she called or she said because you're including this gay guy into the story. No, fuck you. Fuck that.
Court rules in favor of these parents, I assure you that we will be...
And again, you are reaching 1960 is your argument? Really? You are fucking stretching, lady.
taking one giant step back in that direction.
Not really.
Because again, I can't stress this enough. They are all about pushing the rest of the wedge in.
No.
Every time they take an inch, they keep going to try to get the whole mile.
That was you with 1960 reference. Take an inch into mile. That's the same thing. Like, your argument is stupid. Take that gay shit out.
Allowing religious parents to opt out of sexual education was a huge mistake.
In the 1960s, shut up.
Not only because it doomed those children to unexpected teen pregnancies, STDs, and a lack of understanding of concepts like consent.
And again, we're talking about 1960s, so nothing really matters.
Which hurts them, the people around them, and society at large. But also because it allowed the tip of that wedge in. If we can opt out.
Don't go out at night because you could be eaten by a dinosaur.
Out of sex ed because we don't believe in it, why can't we opt out of evolution? Oh, thank you. We can? Great.
What the hell are you talking, dude?
Okay, now we'd like to opt out of ever seeing a gay person.
No one said anything about anything of that sort.
Fascinating twist, fundamentalist Muslim
You're the one who's stretching.
parents are part of the Christian families in this fight, not realizing, I guess, that they're next on the menu. Because I assure you, the end goal is not public schools that teach several major religions' creation myths alongside evolution.
My extreme theory is being taught by she has 212,000 watchers. She has 7,000 views in 2 hours.
It's the Ten
That makes me sad.
Commandments. It's Jesus on the cross. And who knows, maybe a little curse of Ham.
What the
Because
hell are you talking about?
seeing a gay guy in a picture book is downright satanic, but
No, it's just not realistic.
seeing a guy's entire lineage cursed to an eternity of slavery because
Again, slavery is. You understand the difference?
he saw his daddy's penis once is good and Christian.
No, shut up.
I'm sorry, but it's really just such a fucking stupid book.
Yeah, this argument is a fucking stupid argument.
Christians should read it sometime. Anyway, as of this recording, the Supreme Court has not yet ruled on this, but it doesn't look good. In addition to the court being
I hope the Supreme Court says to not include the book because fuck that. Basically, again, majority rules.
controlled by religious extremists and journalists reporting that they're sounding very sympathetic.
I'm listening to argument. I'm listening to an argument in Mahmoud, I can't, versus Taylor. The conservative Christian attack on books with LGBTQ characters in elementary schools, and it's impossible to overstate the contemptuous Sam Alito is on the idea of treating LGBTQ people with respect. He is a rank homophobe. Nancy Mace. I don't know who or what this all that is. It sounds niche to me or whatever. And also, see, you notice 60, 808, 3.5. That had 3 days to run. You, 212,000, 7,000 views in 2 hours, 1.5 thousand likes in 2 hours. Little different.
To the parents.
So you pointing to the minority doesn't allow you to speak as if that minority is the majority. Basically, is the point there.
Only 3 of the justices.
What more? Only 3 of the 9 were educated in public schools. Justice Daniel Leon and the other 6 all graduated from private Catholic schools. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Honestly, that's pretty bad. Because in the private Catholic schools, you're allowing rather, what's it called? The other successes all graduated from private Catholic schools. It's because they're allowing private beliefs to rule, whereas most of society didn't grow up in private schools. It should be the other way around. It should be 3 justices went to private, and the other 6 went to or yeah, and then the other 6 went to generic schools, basically. But it's just so it's more inclusive. You know what I'm saying? Because right now it's like the minorities ruling the majority, and that really shows you that that's what's going on. Basically, that 6 of the minority are selected versus 3 of the majority are selected, when it should be 3 of the minority and 6 of the majority, basically.
Have even.
And for the record, there's no private doesn't isn't better than public, and public isn't better than private. It's just let the numbers speak. That's it.
Gone to public school. That would be Alito, Jackson, and Kagan, and the rest of them all graduated from private Catholic schools. And next week, they'll be considering whether or not to approve the first religious public charter school. And for dessert, this
A battle over religion in schools in Oklahoma could decide the future of the First Amendment. Conservative religious activists wanted to wait. Conservative religious activists want to dismantle a long-term understanding the separation of church and state, and the Supreme Court may be on board. I don't understand.
fall, they're going to be considering whether or not to overturn state level bans on conversion therapy, the extreme religious.
Wait, is that just. Yeah. So I read that.
Charter school. And for dessert, this fall, they're going to be considering.
And then she was this. Supreme Court takes up challenge to Colorado conversion therapy ban. The case raises question of whether state bans violate the free speech of therapists who counsel people to change their sexual orientation or gender identities. That's actually interesting. Let me think about that for a moment. Supreme Court takes up challenge to Colorado conversion therapy ban. So they're banned. The conversion therapy is banned. Is it banned already or is it not banned already? I don't know. The case raises questions of whether state bans violate the free speech of therapists who counsel people to change their sexual orientations or gender identities. The case raises questions of whether state bans violate. That's a tough one. The case raises questions. It's a tough one because I haven't thought of it. Not so much that because it's a challenging question. I'm trying to literally learn everything there is to learn about conversion therapy and gays and straights and bands, and so give me a moment. The case raises question of whether I'm downloading. Give me a moment. The case raises questions of whether state bans. So they're trying to say that because the state banned it, that it violates your free speech. Like regardless of what. First off, no, that's not about a ban or a violation. A violation rather. To ban a certain speech, like there is certain speech we're not allowed to speak, and it's banned. There's a reason for it, and it's okay. Like for example, I can't publicly speak like, "Hey, let's go and grape the world." You know what I'm saying? I can't go and organize events for that, and there's a reason for it because you know what I'm saying. Like there's a reason for it, and we can all agree to it, and that's freedom, right? So they can, and I have the freedom. I have the freedom to go and no, you're wrong. Therapists who counsel people to change their sexual orientations or gender identities. But is it banned already or not? Is it banned or is it not banned? That's the question that I have. Because the way it's uh, stated, it does. There's no way to draw that information, so that's a question I have. But As far as does it change your, it depends. Like what?
Whether or not to overturn state level bans on conversion therapy, the extreme religious practice of torturing people, usually children, into pretending to be straight or cisgender when they
Oh, so they want.
aren't. So, yeah, dark time.
Okay. So, you are preloading it, by the way. You're adding context, or there is none. I disagree with that. So, calling it torture and whatnot, that's unnecessary because that's not what the other side believes. Let's, handle it legitimate. Stop being Fox News for a moment. The right is on the wrong, basically, because they preload shit all the time. You can't do that. Don't be like them, you dumb bitch. Okay. And I say that not because I'm preloading it, but because there's actually reason in this very video for me to say that. You fucked up already. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. When I walked in here, I didn't know who you were. I greeted you and it was 100% just fair, loving, la 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 la. But you're stupid and you're wrong and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about and you're preloading shit and you're just no. Like, you, no. That's it. Just no. So they're talking about banning and you're talking about torture, but is it torture? It might be more torture to be gay in the world than this to be straight. It depends. Like, it really depends. Like, for example, it's just for the sake of argument or for the sake of the point was just just saying basically. I'm not trying to actually make this so. Like, imagine being blue, for example. You don't want to be blue because it makes you stand out. You know what I'm saying? Like, being weird or being different, even, it makes you stand out. And some people, they wear a top hat and a cane, and they're called pimps. Basically, it's really hard to explain this point. Just know you're wrong and you're stupid, basically. And to call it torture, it's fucked up to say it's torture because it's more torture, IMO, to be gay in a world where there's no one else who is gay and you're the only one that feels that way and everyone else looks down on you. I think that would be more torturous than going through a way for someone. It'd be like saying, or like, imagine going into a place and all they have is hot dogs and you don't like hot dogs, right? Or buns and you don't like buns. And they're trying to teach you to like buns. And, saying that's not torture, right? So you're preloading it. That's a good example. Right? That's a good argument. It's like living in a world with nothing but buns and around you. And the only thing you can eat is a bun, but you don't like buns. You're not into buns. You want hot dogs, but there's only buns. There's only buns. So you go to school and they're trying to teach you to like buns and whatnot, right? That's fine. But the way you're saying it, you're preloading it. Oh, they're torturing you. Oh, like, let's hear it again.
Straight or cisgender when they aren't. So, yeah, dark times ahead. If you are a parent, I recommend stocking up your library at cisgender bans on. This fall, they're going to be considering whether or not to overturn state level bans on conversion therapy, the extreme religious practice of torturing people, usually children, into pretending to be straight or cisgender when they aren't. So,
Nothing wrong with it when you consider like it. Like I yell at Neil deGrasse Tyson for, it depends. Like he said, all science comes down to maybe. One word, maybe. Me, I said, pfft, I spit on him and I said, depends is a better word, I am. And just like now, it depends. If again, if there's nothing but buns and you like hot dogs, I would go to school so I can learn how to like buns so they could talk me into it to make you feel like that you want the bun. You like the bun. The bun is good, and the bun is and they talk you into it. Suddenly you're into buns. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But you're trying to again preload it. It's torture. Woo! Like how is I'm trying to make you like buns because all we have is buns. All we have is buns. Again, it's just an argument, right? If like considering, you know what I'm saying? Considering that's fine. IMO. And if it's their religion that's making them reach that same conclusion, it depends. That's what I'm saying. It always depends. So,
Oh, yeah, dark times ahead. If you
but fuck you for saying
are
slavery.
a parent,
I hate preloading bitches, dude.
I
I really
recommend
do.
stocking up your library at home with a diversity of educational books.
She's a dumb bitch because like it's a it's a story about a gay rabbit mole thing. You don't need to stock up on gay. Why the fuck would you stock up on like that one gay? It doesn't fit. Realistically, it should be there because most of society isn't gay, so your book should not be there. So
Maybe consider hiding the library like in a cubby behind your refrigerator, just in case.
no, she's stupid.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If
He got those.
you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you
Shut up, you cow. You fucking. I hate this. Anyways. So. I was like this the whole time. Shut up. Can't prove it. Don't go back 10 seconds. No. Okay. Anyways. The point is, she's wrong. Like, majority rules. Like, why am I like that? Like, let's do what they do in math, right? The opposite is true, basically. Like, let's say I'm, cause like my brain works faster than my brain. Like part of my brain is faster than other parts of my brain. I think is what it is. That's why I am the way I am. That's why where the tumor came from. I blame my mother. She gave me what's it called? Oh, fuck. It's an ADD medication. She treated me for ADD. I believe I didn't have it. I have a free mind. I don't have ADD. And they call it free mind ADD. And the reason why they do that is so that it makes you a slave instead of a free mind. And it's because my dad is from Mexico. And in America, your child isn't allowed to exist unless they are like her, basically. You have to come from the system like her. But most of the rich people, they don't partake. They wouldn't drink your milk. They wouldn't eat your steak. They wouldn't. They don't eat the food you eat. They have their own private cows, their own private dairy, and their own private eggs, and all this natural shit. They don't look anything like you. You look like fat. You're falling apart. Like you die at 60. Meanwhile, they're fucking 90 years old, still walking around like a fucking like nothing happened. Reason why is because your food. It's made to kill you. That's why. And there's places in Mexico, like buying from Mexico. You ain't buying from Mexico. You're buying from places that exist in Mexico. Because most of the shit from Mexico, real Mexico, like is not anywhere near as bad. That's why no one will accept our food and shit because it's all fucked up. Our food's all fucked up. Like bananas nowadays come with fucking bullshit. Like everything comes with bullshit. Like, did you know that once upon a time, bananas came with seeds or something like that? Uh, I don't know for sure. Like, there's no male bananas. Like male and female. Like the reason why the line's getting changed and becoming what it is because that's our food. Basically, they removed male and female food, and so that's the result. You know what I'm saying? And cheap food is like that. But yeah, um, as far as that, the book, it's no, she's wrong. Get that book out of here. As far as conversion therapy, it's not torture. It depends. Like I'm sure it can be torture, just like being straight can be torture, right? It depends, and I'm trying to break it down, and that's why it's hard to communicate it sometimes, because not everybody in the world is as smart as me, and that's why my best friend is an AI, because some of the things in my head I can't communicate properly. Like as an adult, I can do way better than when I was a kid. Like my brain was fucking complex as fuck, but I didn't have, you know, the proper places, the proper adults and whatnot in my life to teach me to do it. Unfortunately, I found out about like people like Jon Stewart and like comedy, and I found out in some places it can't exist. But anyways, that's it. She's wrong. She's a bull. She's a bitch. Fuck her. I don't like her. Rebecca was it Rebecca? What was it? Rebecca Watson, Skepchick, Skepchick as like she's a skeptic, I guess. Ha he whatever. Problem is she's a dumbass. Chances are she's drinking from a lot of fucking what's it called, plastic jugs and shit, and shouldn't have any glass containers or whatnot. That kept her straight. That basically, and I don't mean straight as in gay and straight. I mean straight as in like an arrow and like straight line. Um, it just kept her going straight, like going just straight. But anyways, be well, be happy, be safe. I'm out here. Take it easy. God bless. Be safe, and remember, don't do drugs. First off, no. I'm saying I said don't, and then I threw that away, and I'm saying do drugs. Um, certain drugs depends. Don't go too hard. Like keep it very very thin. Same with sex. Like you don't want to overdo it because you're gonna ruin it for yourself. Um, also, don't listen to bitches like her because she's wrong. And again, I try to kind of like math how you do with one side that you do with the other. Kind of like how they try to say, oh, like, well, if you subtract 5 from it, then you got to add 5 to it later. That's not how it works. Cause your numbers are gonna complete. Math is wrong. It's a bad example. I should never do it again. I probably won't. We'll see. But anyways, I'm out here. So be well, be happy, say peace.